New tonight on KGW News.
Get on the ground!
Just released body cam video shows the moment officers stopped a man they say was running around Northeast Portland naked and with a gun. Plus, breaking news as the driver barrels straight through the front of a restaurant, and authorities say this was deliberate. Then,
we have bars on our windows now, we have bars on our door.
How local business owners, fed up with what feels like nonstop break-ins, are finally getting some help. And later,
his entire body had some concrete within it.
Stuck inside a concrete mixer. Tonight, meet the owl who survived some incredible odds. Good evening, everyone. Let's get right to breaking news in Wood Village with broken glass and customers left scrambling after authorities say a driver deliberately crashed a car into a Chipotle. This happened at the Wood Village Town Center just off Gleason and 223rd. Luckily, no one was hurt. Catherine Cook has the very latest from investigators.
Cleanup is underway here in Wood Village. Crews are sweeping up a ton of glass. You can see where the car crashed through, destroying several windows before driving away. This happened around 7 p.m. The restaurant was open and people were here working and buying food. Deputies indicated this was not an accident. They say it appears whoever did this did so on purpose, though it's not clear why. The driver then backed out and took off, but left behind a bumper. Again, no one was hurt, and authorities say there was no real structural damage to the restaurant, but obviously it had to close, disappointing a lot of would-be customers.
Kind of makes you feel bad because, you know, it's like, what does the world come to, you know? People driving their cars into restaurants, like people just working, people trying to get food. You know, it's sad.
Right now, Multnomah County Sheriff's investigators are trying to identify the driver. They're asking anyone with information on this case to contact them. In Wood Village, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
New tonight, just released body cam video from Portland police sheds some light on some dangerous circumstances in Northeast Portland. A naked man apparently running around a busy neighborhood and with a gun. Alma McCarty just combed through the video, which ends with an arrest. Alma?
Yeah, David, Portland police hit the man with a squad car at one point and got him to drop his gun, but he kept running. A warning, the video is difficult to watch at points, and we should know that some of it was edited by the Bureau before its release.
Available to start. We got a naked guy running around. One caller, a couple callers said he had a gun that is not loaded in his hand.
On the night of November 5th, dispatchers fielded calls about a man without clothing running around with a handgun in the Lloyd district.
Are you guys seeing a naked guy running around?
Portland police eventually spotted the man and heard a single gunshot.
Oh, he just shot.
It's looking like it is a gun.
I'm gonna hit him. Okay.
Copy, a shot is fired on emergency.
Shot him.
Run him over, dude.
Okay, make I go.
Shot fired.
I copy, shot fired on emergency out.
Guns out of his hand.
That action considered by the Bureau as a use of deadly force, though the suspect survived. As some officers searched for the gun,
We're looking for it outside the Denny's right now.
the suspect got up and took off.
All right, he's going to be running southbound on Grand, approaching the Motel 6.
Police in pursuit get out of their cars shouting commands.
Hey, get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Initially following those instructions, video then shows the suspect getting up and going into the building.
Tase him! Tase him! Taser! Taser! Taser deployed! Taser deployed!
Officers cuff the man, who knocks his head into the ground.
Stop hitting your head.
I'm sorry! I submit! Please, I cooperate!
I know you are. Stop. Relax and breathe. Help's here.
That man, later identified as 43-year-old Robert Hatley, admitted to taking meth. He was treated at the hospital, released, and booked into jail. Police found the gun in the front bumper of the police vehicle that hit him.
Hatley faces unlawful use of a weapon and felon in possession of a firearm charges. The two officers involved were placed on administrative leave, and Portland police are still investigating. David?
It is tough to watch. Alma McCarty in the newsroom. Thanks, Alma. Developing tonight, a new task force has been set up to try and put a stop to burglaries like these that have plagued local businesses. It'll bring together Multnomah County prosecutors, law enforcement, and business owners. Portland alone has experienced some 3,200 burglaries in the past year. The owner of Mercantile Portland, which is downtown, says they've been hit several times with the worst theft in 2020.
Over a dozen people came into our store and took merchandise and destroyed things for a total cost of $815,000. We have bars on our windows now. We have bars on our door. We have a doorbell that our customers ring to get into the store.
That's what it's come to in spots. The task force will meet regularly to coordinate on cases and to share investigative strategies. All right, this just into the KGW newsroom. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson has declared an emergency over a fuel leak that is preventing enough jet fuel from getting to Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. The leak on the Olympic pipeline in Everett was discovered last week, leading the pipeline to shut down. Ferguson is temporarily waiving restrictions on how jet fuel can be transported to make sure SEA has enough for its planes. Inbound aircraft have been notified to fuel to capacity before arriving. The governor says if the pipeline does not start back up by Saturday, airport operations would be, quote, significantly affected. Meanwhile, some are raising concerns tonight about how federal budget cuts could impact tsunami alerts up and down the West Coast. NOAA, that's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, recently canceled a $300,000 grant, one that provided real-time seismic data from the Alaska Earthquake Center. The center says it will stop providing those live feeds by the end of the month, which will reduce the amount of information flowing to the tsunami warning centers. Northwest leaders like Senator Maria Cantwell say any delay in tsunami alerts could put coastal communities at risk. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Matt Safino for more context here. So Matt, remind us how these tsunami alerts work.
Well, you know, anytime we lose data like this, we're concerned about it, especially when it comes from a very data sparse region like the Gulf of Alaska and the Bering Sea. See all these red dots? These are the ones that are going to be decommissioned, if you will, that will no longer be funded. And these are in areas where there's not a lot of other data and where there are a lot of faults. In fact, most likely, the next time the Northwest or the West Coast gets hit with a big tsunami, statistically speaking, it comes from Alaska. So this is an area where you really do want to have some good data. And as Maria Cantwell said, Senator Cantwell said, every minute counts when you're talking about tsunami warning. So that's why we're concerned about this. I mean, will they be able to fix it with other technologies? Hopefully, yes, in the future. But right now, with less data online, that is a concern that these are going by the wayside. So it's something we'll have to monitor very carefully, especially in an earthquake-heavy region like the Gulf of Alaska and the Bering Sea up there. All right, we've got rain moving in right now. We'll talk more about this when it'll move out in a bit. David?
All right, looking forward to that. Thanks, Matt. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, half of the 200 Oregon National Guard members mobilized by President Trump last month are still in limbo after a new court ruling. The Ninth Circuit issued an order tonight allowing the federal government to keep control of the force. Northern Command had already downsized its call-up, sending 100 troops to Texas to demobilize, which could take about a week. No word on how long the Pentagon plans to keep the other 100 ready to go. A judge has permanently blocked the president from deploying them to the ICE building, with the Ninth Circuit set to hear an appeal sometime next year. A warrant has been issued for a Portland mother after police say they found one of her children in what they call deplorable conditions. Authorities were called to do a welfare check at the home, they say, and found feces smeared on the walls, rotten food, and locks on the refrigerator. Police say the woman's 11-year-old son, who's autistic and nonverbal, was alone and unclothed on the couch. It is not clear where the woman's other child, a 9-year-old, was at the time. The mom, 32-year-old Ruby Gadina Velador, was supposed to appear in court today, but did not show up. To an update in Gresham, where police have found the puppy they say was stolen during a robbery Monday night. The owner of the 9-month-old German Shepherd mix, Shayla, says 4 people attacked him and took the dog. While police say the dog is safe, they're not releasing any other details about how she was found and say this case is still under investigation. And a Portland man pleaded guilty today to arson at the South Waterfront ICE building. Federal prosecutors say Trenton Barker and others built a barricade in June in front of that facility's gate, then lit a flare and threw it onto the pile. Barker faces up to 20 years in prison and is scheduled to be sentenced in March. In Washington, D.C. tonight, President Trump has signed the bill that compels the Justice Department to release all unclassified documents on late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Now that the act is law, the DOJ has 30 days to make the files public, though some that deal with open investigations could potentially be held back. AG Pam Bondi saying she wants maximum transparency without specifying exactly what that means.
We have released over 33,000 Epstein documents to the Hill, and we'll continue to follow the law.
President Trump, who opposed the release until this week, has not been accused of any wrongdoing related to Epstein.